Hello class, this is Swiss Family Robinson, abbreviated SFR, Chapter 2. We explore the island. As soon as I heard the cock crow and saw by the light that it was morning, I got out of bed and discussed with my wife what we should do next. First, I said, Fritz and I will make a tour of the coast and try to find some of the men who left the ship, for if they are here, they may be in need. But, said Fritz, who had heard me from his bed, why should we search for those who left us to die on the wreck? Well, I will tell you, I said. First, we should do to them as we would wish them to do to us. Next, we know that they took no food with them, and we should not leave them to starve. And last, it may be that they can help us, though now they are probably more in need of our aid. The boys were soon up, and we all sat down to a good meal. That done, Fritz and I got ready to leave. I put a pair of small guns in his belt, gave him a game bag, and told him to take an axe. I took some food for us both, and a full flask out of which we could drink if we should stray far from a stream. We left the dog Juno to guard the tent, but Turk went with us and ran by our side. We soon got to the banks of a stream, but then had to make our way down its course. It took us some time to reach the seashore. There was not a boat to be seen, or any sign that the ship's crew had found the land. We left the shore and went through a wood full of tall trees. Here, Fritz struck some hard thing on the ground with his foot, which we found to be a coconut. He gave it a blow with his axe and broke the shell, and we both sat down to rest and eat the nut. At the end of the wood, we came to a plain which gave us a clear view of the place. Fritz, who was on the lookout, ran off with Turk to some strange tree that he saw on the right. When I caught up to him, it gave me no small joy to find that it was a gourd tree. Try, I said, if you can, get hold of one of those strange lumps that grow on it. With that he brought one down, and we had a look at it. Now, of this, I said, we can make a plate, a dish, or a flask. Natives of these islands set great store by its shell, which they use to hold their food and drink. We then set to work to make dishes of the gourds. When we had made some 8 or 10 bowls and some flat plates, we laid them out in the sun to dry, and then went on our way. We could see, not far off, a grove of fine palm trees, but to reach them we should have to pass through reeds and long grass. I knew this was just the place to find snakes, so we each cut a cane, that we might beat them off should we meet with any. As I took hold of my staff, I felt a gum or juice ooze out of the end. I put my tongue to it, and found that it tasted sweet. This led me to suck the reed, and I knew that we had met with the sugar cane. By this time Fritz had done the same, for I could see that he held his cane to his mouth. Do not suck too much of it, I said, or it will make you ill. But let's cut some of the best and take them back with us, for those at home will enjoy so great a treat. It did not take us long to reach the place where the palms grew, and then we sat down in the shade to eat the food we had brought with us. Do you see those nuts at the top of the trees, Fritz? I said. To be sure I do, but they are far too high to reach. Look, look, he cried, there are some monkeys. Let me have a shot at them. Don't do that, I said, and held his arm. It will do us no good to kill them. And I think I can make use of them. With that I threw some stones up at the tree where they were, though they had got safe out of my reach. They then made a loud noise, took hold of the nuts that were near, and flung them straight at us. The trick made Fritz laugh, who soon had hard work to pick up the nuts that were thrown at him. We broke some of the nuts and put the juice of the canes in the thick white cream which forms close to the shell. This made us a dish that Fritz said was fit for a king. Fritz and I then tied some nuts to a string, which I tied around my waist, while he took up the canes, and we both set off on our way home. On our way back, we took up the gourd bowls and plates, which we found quite dry and hard as bone, and put them in our bags. We had scarcely gotten through the wood when Turk darted in front of us, and we saw a troop of apes rush out of the way. But he gave a leap and brought down one that could not climb so fast as the rest, for she had a young one in her arms. Before Fritz could call the dog off, the mother ape was dead. The young one, as soon as it saw Fritz, sprang on his back, put its paws in his curls, and would not let go. I at length got the ape from Fritz's back, and took it up in my arms like a child. We found that it was too young to seek its own food, and, as Fritz said he should like to take it home, we put it on Turk's back. Turk did not at first like this, but we soon got him to carry the ape, which he held so tightly to the hair on the dog's neck that it could not fall off. Fritz then led Turk with a string that he might not stray out of sight or throw off his charge, which I think he would have done had we not been on the watch. It did not take us long to reach the bank of the stream near our home. I need not tell you how glad my wife and sons were to see us back safely, or with what joy the boys took the real live ape out of Fritz's arms. At length, when they settled down, I told them we had brought them all sorts of good things, but that we had not met with any of the men of whom we went in search. "God's will be done," said my wife. "Let us thank him that you have come back safely to us. This day to me has been an age. But put down your loads, for we must now go in and hear what you have to tell." Fritz and I told them, by turns, where we found the things we brought with us, how we made and dried the plates and bowls, cut the canes, and caught the ape in the woods. Our tales had not come to an end when we were told that it was time for supper. Ernest had shot a wild goose, and some fish had been caught in the stream. With these and the Dutch cheese that we brought from the ship, we made a good meal. But the boys would not rest till we broke some of the coconuts, from which they drank the milk, made sweet with the juice of the sugar cane. I must tell you that we greatly enjoyed eating our food from our gourd rind plates, which my wife said she should prize more than if they were made of pure gold. That night the ape went to bed with Jack and Fritz, and we all slept in peace till the cocks on the roof of the tent woke us up. Next day Fritz and I went back to the wreck to save the livestock and get what else we had left that might be of use to us. We found it no light task, for we had to make floats for the cow, the donkey, the sheep, and the goats, throw them in the sea, and tie them with ropes to our raft. We put on board the raft a vast deal of food that had not been spoiled by the sea, though the waves had broken through the sides of the wreck. We then set out for shore with our train of livestock tied securely to the stern. We had not gone far when I heard a loud cry of fear from Fritz. "We are lost! We are lost! Look at that great shark on its way to us!" Though pale with fright, he took aim with his gun and shot the fish in the head. It sank at once, which I knew to be a sign that we were once more safe. We then got to land and secured our freight to the shore. Before we had done this, our family came to give us what help they could to get the beasts out of the stream and take them up to the tent. The poor animals were well nigh worn out, but we took good care of them and put them to rest on some dry grass that my wife had laid out for them. That night we did not eat on the ground. My wife had spread a cloth on the top of a cask, and we each sat on a tub. With the knives and forks that we had found in the ship, we ate a dish of hot ham and eggs. Before bedtime, my wife told me that while I was at the wreck, she had gone in search of some place in which we could build a house. "And did you find one, my dear?" I said. "Oh yes," she said. "We can take you to a great tree that will serve us well, if we can but get across the stream with our goods." "But would you have us roost like fowls in a tree? How do you think we could get up to our perch? Was there not a large lime tree in our town, in which they built a ballroom with stairs up the trunk?" "To be sure there was," I said, "and if we cannot build in it, we can at least make use of its shade and dwell in a hut on the roots." Ernest said that he took a string and found that it was 12 yards around the trunk. This led me to think that my wife's scheme was by no means a bad one, and that I would have to look at the tree the next day. When I had heard all they had to tell, we knelt down to pray, and then sought a good night's rest, which the toils of the day made us much in need of.